Hello everyone, intuitive and astrologer Lisa Salvatore here to talk to you about the overarching themes, the astrology and the energies for the month of November. In this video, we will go through the whole entire month with key dates and energies to be aware of, and also ways to empower oneself through these tumultuous times, through these times in general. I am a Western astrologer that practices mainly evolutionary and esoteric astrology. My focus is on empowerment of the soul and the soul's journey. I strive to give you the real information, the real astrology, but also practical ways to work with and through the energies, both collectively and through your own personal birth chart. If you are new here, welcome. It is lovely to have you here. And as always, welcome back to all of my existing subscribers. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe and smash that bell icon so that you are always notified of new uploads. And you can find all of my information in the description box below or by visiting lisasalvatore.com. Everything is there. So let's get right down to it. The theme for this month, faith over fear. Vibe on faith, not on fear, or at least try to not vibe on the fear as much. I know that we are under some very tumultuous times all across the world, but specifically in the United States as we are approaching Election Day, which, by the way, I've gone ahead and done an election update. That will also be linked in the description box below if you'd like to go back and take a listen to that. But the theme is faith over fear. We have to have faith. When I was a little girl, my grandmother had this proverb in a tiny little frame with a beautiful antique looking gold rim, and she had it in her apartment. Fear knocked at the door, faith answered. There was no one there. And I remember as a small child, I would sit there and I would read that every single time I went into her apartment. And I understood the magnitude of that statement, and it always just struck me. So as the years went on, Granny knew that I loved this proverb. She knew that I always had my eye on this particular picture. It wasn't just about this phrase, it was the energy that that picture held. And many years before she actually ended up passing away, she gave me this. She said, I feel like you need to have this now. You've been eyeing this since you were 5 years old. It's yours. And she gave it to me. I now proudly have it hanging in my closet. I look at it every single day and it still carries that same magnitude. And I just felt that it was very fitting for these times specifically, and even more specifically for the month of November. Regardless of what happens, we must try and keep the faith. Faith in ourselves, faith in one another, faith in humanity, and faith in goodness. Which leads me to my next point. If you've been following me for a long time, you know that I'm a total book nerd. I'm a Gemini rising. I often read 2 books at once, sometimes 3, and yes, I can absorb all of the material. But these 2 books right here are 2 of my absolute favorites for self-healing and self-empowerment. Bringing Your Shadow Out of the Dark by Robert Augustus Masters. This is an excellent book for doing shadow work. We are in the season of Scorpio right now, and Scorpio is the sign most closely linked to our shadow, to the shadow self, which is not bad. It's a part of us, and it wants to be seen, and it wants to be integrated. This is a fabulous book. It also has a workbook built in, so you can go back and repeat these exercises as often as you need to. It is extremely rewarding and enlightening. Whether you go to therapy, whether you do not go to therapy, this book is a form of self-therapy and self-care. I highly suggest it. I refer back to this book multiple times a year, and I am not exaggerating. Doing shadow work is bringing us into the true evolution of our soul. And then this other book by Rebecca Solnit, A Paradise Built in Hell. This is an excellent book about humanity, about coming together as a collective. It's about faith. It's helpful to restore faith in humanity. And it is all about human altruism. It's based off of real life disasters and the way communities band together to rise above. Excellent book, especially with everything going on in the world right now. I highly suggest it. And as mentioned in the beginning of the video, you can find all of my information by copying this link or just going right to my website, lisasalvatore.com. My newsletter direct link, you can copy and paste this. Sign up for my newsletter. I have 2 different newsletters. I have a basic newsletter, which is totally free. I do post a lot on there. But then I have my exclusive newsletter that is $10 a month. And with that subscription, you receive weekly detailed forecasts live via YouTube. And we have a spiritual chat each week. And you see here that I'm giving you the November energy update. But as part of the subscription, you get a more detailed forecast for each sign. And that is going to be done live each month for the exclusive subscribers to the newsletter. And there are other perks with that. Again, you can find all of my information right on my website. I also have courses there. Some are free, some are paid, all with the goal of helping you on your journey. and understanding your own personal astrology if you wish to do so. You can also shop for authentic gemstone jewelry through the products page on my website and check out my newest collaboration with Otter Spirit. Now we'll really get into it. November, this month is topsy-turvy. It is a month where we're going to feel like we have to stay on our toes and be ready for anything. Expect the unexpected, but let's try to expect the unexpected in the best way possible. It is going to be both an exhilarating month on all fronts, on all levels, and also a very telling month on all fronts and on all levels. We start the month off with a very powerful new moon in Scorpio, November 1st. Rabbit, rabbit. May November be good to us all and bring blessings and abundance to everyone. This is a very powerful way to start off the month of November. We've got this extreme, intense energy of Pluto in opposition to Mars at the time of this new moon, both at the 29th degree, the critical anaretic degree. And I've gone ahead and done a full reading for the Scorpio new moon, so I won't talk too much about it here. I will link that in the description box below so that you can always go and listen to that. But please know that we will all experience this energy, but it's going to definitely be most potent for Scorpio, Taurus, Leo, and Aquarius placements, also Cancer and Pisces, and even more significantly, if any of your points and or placements fall between 7 and 11 degrees of any of those signs. Remember, you can always pull up your birth chart for free right on my website, on the homepage, so that you know where this new moon will fall for you. And you're going to want to set an intention or two in those areas of life. This Mars-Pluto opposition, the heat is on. We're already feeling it. It is already operational. I am recording this on October 28th. We have these two powerful bodies in the sky, these two powerful energies, and both of these energies, Pluto and Mars, are the rulers of Scorpio. Mars is the traditional ruler of Scorpio, and Pluto is the modern-day ruler of Scorpio. They both hold a lot of power. And they're at the 29th degree of two cardinal signs, Cancer and Capricorn. So this is extremely significant. This is extremely empowering on a lot of levels. And it can also feel disempowering in other ways as we strive to find control in one or more areas of our lives. Collectively speaking, this is a time of chaos and unrest. And even if we're not experiencing these energies, we are feeling them. It's the collective overtone. Refer back to that Scorpio new moon reading for full details. This will show you where to set the intentions by your rising sign, but you're going to always want to check your chart to find where 9 degrees of Scorpio more specifically will fall. And again, I have free content here. I'm going to link it all in the description box to help you to understand what I mean by that if you don't already. I've got you covered. So visit the videos in the description box below. November 1st through 3rd, Mars opposite Pluto at that 29th degree. The cardinal energies here, they are duking it out. Power plays, power dynamics, control, manipulation, asserting power. Now, know on the personal level that if you have your birth date falling in between any of these ranges here, it doesn't matter the year. April 17th through the 20th, which is Aries energy. July 20th through July 23rd, which is Cancer. October 20th through October 23rd, which is Libra. And January 17th through January 20th, which is Capricorn. If you have, especially your sun sign, if your birthday falls in this range, you are receiving this energy to your sun, to your essence, to the core of who you are. And even if your birthday doesn't fall exactly in these dates, you could still be feeling it. And if you have any points or placements in any of those signs and degrees, you will likely be feeling this energy that much more strongly. It almost feels like you're being backed in a corner, squeezing your way in and out. There's a lot of pressure to take action, pressure to perform, pressure to assert your dominance. This could play out in many different ways. We all have our own personal story, but just know that the energy itself is contentious. And if your birthday falls in these ranges of any year, you're going to likely be feeling this that much more strongly. But on the positive side, this could spark tremendous growth, empowerment, and transformation of the highest vibration. You can really be recognizing how far you've come, how resilient you are, how much you've grown, how much you've changed. And you could really be ready to go to the next level on your journey. Overall, this energy is bitey. So be very cautious, be very mindful, move with intention, move with awareness. That's the best advice that I can give you. We get to November 2nd, and we've got Jupiter in a sextile to Chiron, which is a sweet aspect. It is supportive, and it is very supportive for our own personal healing and healing overall. This is where we recognize that which hurts us or that which has hurt us has the potential to also be medicinal, but we have to be willing to do the shadow work, to go into the shadow, to go into the true raw energy of what has occurred or what is occurring, and recognizing that we hold the healing balm within ourselves. And give yourself some kudos. Pay attention to the patterns that are showing up in your reality, but be proud of yourself. Be proud of the way that you've overcome adversity. Be proud of the way that you've put yourself back together after crisis and or tragedy. And if you don't feel you're there yet, be proud of yourself anyway for showing up. Be proud of how far you have come. And then Mars will enter Leo on November 3rd, later on in the evening. I'm going to do a separate reading for Mars retrograde because it deserves its own reading. But what I will say is this. So Mars will enter Leo on November 3rd. Mars is going from the watery sign of Cancer, where he's a little cranky right now. He's heated up, he's agitated, and he's moving into Leo. Now, Mars can always be agitated, right? Because that's what this planet represents. Mars is pure energy and force, and it is our will to assert ourselves and to take action. It's our sexuality. It is also our aggression. So Mars going from water into fire into Leo, Mars is ready. He wants to take off. He wants to move forward. Now Mars will remain in Leo and get to 6 degrees of Leo. And then on December 6th, Mars will actually station retrograde. We only have a Mars retrograde every 26 months or so this is kind of a big deal. It's more strongly felt and experienced than Mercury retrogrades typically are. So this is still a heated up energy. And even though Mars is now entering Leo, it's still in that operational opposition with Pluto and will be all the way through April with varying degrees of intensity, but it's there. So go right to your birth chart, check out where Leo and Cancer fall, and note these areas of your chart because this is where the Mars retrograde will take place for you. And there will be more details on that to come. Going back to November 2nd, we've got Mercury, the messenger planet, the planet of information, communication, the way that we think. Mercury will enter Sagittarius, and we will also have our third and final Mercury retrograde of 2024. And this retrograde will begin while Mars is retrograde. This is like a double whammy here. This is a double dose of intensity. It's a period of reevaluation. It's a period of stepping back, slowing down, whether we want to or not. And there could also be a lot of miscommunication, misinformation, misfiring of energies. Mercury is already uncomfortable. In other words, in its detriment in the sign of Sagittarius. And then on top of that, we're going to throw in a retrograde. So communication will definitely feel wonky, especially as we get towards the middle and end of November. Now, Mercury will be in Sagittarius until January 8th, for frame of reference. We will likely feel this pretty much as Mercury enters Sagittarius because on November 7th, Mercury will enter its what we call pre-retrograde shadow zone, which means that Mercury enters the degree in which Mercury will later station direct, which is 6 degrees of Sagittarius. Well, 6 degrees and 23 minutes to be exact. November 9th through the 13th, you may feel a little more on edge, and even more so if you're highly mutable, which means Gemini, Pisces, Virgo, Sagittarius. If you have one or more placements in any of those signs, you may feel this agitation or scattered energy that much more, which again doesn't mean bad, it just means charged up. This could feel confusing, this could feel frustrating, especially when it comes to our relationships, and it could also affect our financial situation. On the 9th of November, we've got Venus in Sagittarius squaring Saturn in Pisces. That could just pull in some sort of a reality check or a blockage or a delay within a specific relationship. And this could have to do with our finances and or both. And then on November 11th, Venus will enter Capricorn and will remain there until December 7th. And then on November 12th, Mercury will square Saturn. Remember, Mercury is in its shadow phase, getting ready for its retrograde. So there could be communication situations, disruptions in our communications, and also disruption to travel. Sagittarius is the sign of long distance travel, of expansion. So having Mercury here already uncomfortable with all of these other energies going on and getting ready for a retrograde, there could be more delays experienced when it comes to travel. And a lot of them will likely be because of weather-related circumstances. And even more so, we're going to be really feeling the gravity of Saturn, because not only will Venus square off with Saturn, then Mercury will square off with Saturn, but Saturn at this point is also stationary, getting ready to station direct. So there could just be these sobering reality checks that crop up around these times, but that could also be positive. And even with positivity, there could still be frustration. This could also be experienced as restrictions placed upon us somehow, world-related. Travel restrictions, perhaps. Then when we get to November 15th, Saturn will station direct at 9:21 a.m. Eastern Time at 12 degrees and 42 minutes of Pisces. Again, Saturn is the planet of karma, karmic implications. This is also about getting ready to take action and move forward now that Saturn is moving direct. It won't be an overnight process, but there could be a lot of clarity that comes in as well. Check your chart, and if you have anything between 12 and 14 degrees of the mutable signs, which are Pisces, Virgo, Gemini, Sagittarius, you will be getting a dose of the Saturnian energy to that specific area of your chart and of your life. And this could be experienced as a reality check for you, which could be very positive. Saturn is a heavyweight in astrology. Saturn gives us structure. Saturn grounds us. He brings us down to earth. He brings us to reality. And that doesn't always feel good, but it's always necessary. Saturn is a necessary pill that we all must swallow, but especially right now, if you're Pisces, Virgo, Gemini, Sagittarius, or have anything between 12 and 14 degrees of any of these signs, you will be feeling this that much more strongly. But this could also provide the impetus for you to really move forward now, personally speaking. When I think of Saturn, collectively speaking, and Saturn stationing direct, and Saturn in Pisces, I cannot help but feel like at this particular point of the year, we're also entering upon cold and flu season. So I just want to pull focus onto the caution factor. Pisces is a very porous, very receptive sign, very much linked to medicine and illness, bugs, colds, flus. Our immune systems could feel a little bit weaker. So just do what you can to stay on top of that. Lung support is never a bad idea. Teas, drinking teas that support your lungs, such as dandelion, clove, cinnamon, all of the warming herbs, all really good for boosting immunity. Elderberry, oil of oregano, whatever you take to help boost your immunity, you're going to want to stay on top of that, especially around this time. And all of this is occurring while we're building up to a powerful full moon in the sign of Taurus. This full moon takes place November 15th, 4:28 p.m. Eastern Time at 24 degrees of Taurus. Ignore this chart up here because it's the wrong chart. As always, I will have a separate reading for the Taurus full moon, but this full moon is conjunct Uranus, and we still have the Pluto-Mars opposition. It's still operational, even though Mars is now at 3 degrees of Leo. Expect the unexpected. The weather is likely going to be extremely volatile. The energy is going to be extremely volatile. Surprises, hopefully of the best kind. I do feel at this time there's going to be a lot in the way of our financial systems, financial institutions, the stock market, even Bitcoin. There's going to be a lot of chatter around these areas, a lot coming to a boil, a lot coming to a head, a lot of reveals, and a lot of reevaluation. We have Saturn in a square to Mercury, frustration. More on that soon. For frame of reference, that full moon will be felt by everybody, but it will be strongest for Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, and Aquarius, especially if you have any of your points or placements between 22 and 26 degrees of any of these signs, and also Capricorn and Virgo. And if you want to get ahead of the game, here's where this full moon will take place for you by your rising sign. So you'll want to look towards these areas of your birth chart, of your life, to see where the energies can manifest for you, or where you will likely feel these energies or have aha moments and epiphanies. And don't forget to download the free guide through the houses to help you along. Speaking of the financial institutions, financial systems, on November 17th, we'll have the sun in exact opposition to Uranus. Again, expect the unexpected when it comes to the weather, when it comes to our money, and when it comes to freedom, because that's what Uranus is all about. Sun opposite Uranus, I actually have this at birth. That is an energy of don't box me in. And this is an energy of where there's restriction, especially if it's forced restriction. Uranus wants to break free. Uranus wants to break the bind, break the chains that bind. And that might not always be in the most constructive manner, at least not initially. But it typically ends up being what it needs to be for the future. So again, sun opposite Uranus is exact on the 17th, but I do feel this energy is going to be very heightened the week before as we're building up toward this exact opposition. Especially as we get to that full moon on the 15th. Stay grounded, move with intention. faith over fear. On November 18th, we've got Mercury in opposition to Jupiter, and we've got the Sun in opposition to Neptune. This could definitely, again, bring in this like sobering reality check. Maybe you think things are one way, and then you find out some information that puts you in a different direction. That could also be very positive. You know, too much of a good thing can do us wrong at times, right? This is a reminder of that. I want to stress again about taking extra good care of the physical, of the body, of the vessel. Because on top of the stress of everything going on in our personal lives and then collectively speaking, there just might be a lot going around at this time. November 19th, Pluto will enter Aquarius for good. 3:39 p.m. Eastern Time. Well, not for good, but Pluto will remain in Aquarius until 2043, 2044. Pluto will officially be vacating the sign of Capricorn and taking some of the heat off of our cardinal signs, Capricorn, Cancer, Libra, Aries. Now he's moving into the fixed energies, which are Aquarius, Taurus, Scorpio, and Leo. Now, as we have this shift of Pluto into Aquarius, personally speaking, this is going to most affect those with earlier degrees of the fixed signs. Now, I saw something on TikTok, okay? And it aggravated me. And I had that moment of wanting to say something, and I chose not to, but I'm going to address it here. There is so much fear-mongering that goes on when it comes to Mickey Mouse astrology, okay? I do not practice Mickey Mouse astrology. Mickey Mouse astrology, what I mean by that is people fear-mongering and saying, oh my gosh, if you're a Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, or Aquarius, get ready. Pluto's now going to destruct your lives. And people really do make this sound like the most treacherous period of impending doom. And don't get me wrong, Pluto is a planet associated with death, but that is mainly metaphorically speaking. Yes, of course, there is also a physical component because Pluto is all about transition and transformation and permanence. That's what Pluto represents. So yes, Pluto does represent death, but a lot of times Pluto transits can be extremely positive and rewarding, even with potential pain, because the thing about Pluto is it's all about power. It's about power, it's about control, it's about empowerment. So under Pluto transits, you can also come into the totality of your personal power. You can stop being a people pleaser. You can finally get on the right career path for you as the old way is excavated or demolished in some cases. So before I go into this, if you do have anything at the earlier degrees, think 0 to 3 degrees of Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, Aquarius, especially if it's your sun sign, your moon sign, and or your rising sign, but really any of your points and placements, yes, you will be receiving a Pluto transit for a few years. But the intensity will wax and wane. And because Pluto operates at a subterranean level, it's very under the surface, okay? You will not always feel that intensity. It will vary. And I want to say again, it can also be extremely positive and rewarding. So don't go into this thinking that if you're a Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, or Aquarius, or especially if you have anything in the earlier degrees, don't go into this thinking doom and gloom. Because 9 times out of 10, it will not play out that way. There is too much fear-mongering going on when it comes to Pluto transits. Having said that, I will not sugarcoat that Pluto will stretch you. Pluto will take you to the depths of a personal hell to bring you back up, completely transformed. That's why you have to have personal astrology, personal readings, so that you can understand these impacts on your own life. So please, before you assume or freak out about a Pluto transit, have a reading. Have a personal reading with a trusted advisor, whether it's myself or somebody else, another astrologer that you get good vibes off of, or that you trust, or that has a good reputation. Please, no fear-mongering. Reality is one thing, fear-mongering is another. A Pluto transit does not automatically insinuate impending doom. Not for everybody. All right, I'll get off my soapbox there. As Pluto enters that 0 degree of Aquarius, clean slate, new energy, we're rebuilding the future. That takes time. It is not an overnight process, and we're still in the turnover phase where a lot is still being stripped away for the rebuilding process to occur. That's where we are both collectively and personally. And even more so, you're going to feel this if you have anything, like I mentioned, between 0 and 3 degrees of Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, and Aquarius. Pluto is heating you up. Birth dates worth noting for Pluto to the Sun transit, okay? Which again, let's think of it like this. The Sun is your core. It's the very essence of who you are. It's your vitality. So Pluto coming to the Sun, think about this as key years of transformation for you, and it will not be an overnight process. So think about how you would like to transform and how Pluto is going to help to empower you to do so in the highest vibration possible. That is what we are manifesting for Pluto. Pluto also requires a part of us to die off so the new can be reborn. Not physically die off, metaphorically. Now, this is for any year, January 20th through January 23rd, Aquarius, April 20th through April 23rd, Taurus, July 22nd through July 25th, Leo, and October 23rd through October 26th, Scorpio. You may still feel it if you've got a birth date out on a couple of days of either side of any of these, but these dates right here are the hot pockets for the next few years. And remember, it will not always feel the same, and a lot of times you might not even really notice it. Refer to the Pluto reading that I recorded a few months back with another astrologer, linked in the description box for more insights on this. All right, enough about Pluto for now. I feel like it's all I've been talking about lately. So November 21st, the sun will enter Sagittarius at 2:56 p.m. Eastern Time. Happy birthday to all of our Saggy souls, our Sagittarian folks. Aim high. It is your season. The highest vibration of the Sagittarius energy is that they are fun-loving and fun-spirited, ruled by expansive Jupiter. They're all about having a good time, staying in a space of optimism. This is that faith energy, faith over fear. That is a Sagittarius sentiment as well. We want to expand, we want to grow, we want to move around, we want to have fun. That's what this energy promotes. So even amongst everything and anything else that could be going on at this point, or that will likely be going on at this point, try to maintain the vibration of Sagittarius, the faith, the fun, the freedom, and shoot for the stars. At this point, we can really start to feel the buildup of the incoming Mercury retrograde, as Mercury is stationary. At this point, when a planet is stationary, it's like we're getting a double dose of the energy. So communication and delays could be very significant right now. So just double check everything, triple check everything before you send out communications, before you set out to travel. Cross your T's and dot your I's. On November 25th, Mercury will station retrograde officially until December 15th. The messenger gets even messier here. Mercury can already be a little messy in Sagittarius, but now it will be even messier. The retrograde officially begins at 9:42 p.m. Eastern Time at 22 degrees and 40 minutes of Sagittarius. So if you have anything around that degree, especially in Sagittarius, Pisces, Virgo, or Gemini, you can feel this Mercury retrograde a little more strongly. On November 27th, it's really cute. We've got the sun in Sagittarius in a trine to Mars in Leo. This is very energetic. This is very lively. This is very sweet. This could be very romantic and could be very freeing. But on the shadow side of that, it is high, hot energy. So even though it's a supportive aspect, it could still lend to a lot of heat and disruption. So we want to channel it wisely. Physical activity is favored. Sports, just watch the potential to be too impulsive. That is the month of November in a nutshell. I'm sure I'm going to come back with more updates. And if you appreciate this content, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Sign up for my newsletter, where I put out more detailed content, where I do my lives. And I will be back soon with readings for both Mars retrograde and the Taurus full moon. Take good care. Bye.